You should shut down your bullshit fucking website because it fucking sucks.
Oh, okay.
If you actually used our website to get help, I am convinced it would help you.
Hello and welcome to episode 519 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. I'm Ben Olson. With me is Nathan Fox. We're the co-founders of LSATdemon.com and the LSAT Demon Daily podcast. We have an email here from Sydney. The subject is reading all answer choices.
Sydney says, "Hey, Ben and Nathan, I've been studying with the Demon for about 2 months and have jumped from a 154 diagnostic to 169 on my latest practice test. My goal is to reach a 173. I know you recommend reading every answer choice, no matter how confident I am in the one I've chosen, but I often find myself skimming the answer choices for my prediction on certain question types and moving on. I don't do this with support questions or principal questions." Wait, there is no such thing as a principal question, Sydney. But anyway,
Yeah.
in case there is an answer with a better fit. But for more definitive types like must be true or sufficient assumption, I typically skip the remaining answers if I find one that perfectly aligns with my prediction. What are your thoughts on this? Thank you both for creating such a great platform, Sydney.
Okay, so skimming is good especially if you've found an answer choice that you love. All we're doing is we're looking for answer choices that, wait a sec, might make sense on the surface, which would then require you to dig a little deeper to make sure that they're not actually better than the one that you love right now. But skipping the remaining answer choices entirely is going too far.
Yeah, we don't give answer choices very much respect in any case, regardless of the question type. I'm expecting A to be wrong 80% of the time. So I'm basically skimming A all the time, every time. I skim A, skim B, skim C, skim D, skim E, because I'm not giving wrong answer choices too much respect. And the only way to not give wrong answer choices too much respect is to basically kind of skim them in the first place. I spend so far less time on the answer choices than I do on the passage, really thinking about it, the question, really thinking about it, making a good solid prediction, that regardless of question type, when I go into the answers, I'm just not spending very much time on any answer choice. So if it is, and I agree, I think Sydney, it's some of what Sydney's saying here makes sense on a sufficient assumption question, for example. You should never miss a sufficient assumption question because you should always be able to predict the answer on a sufficient assumption question. So yeah, when you find exactly what you predicted, that's 99% the answer. But how long does it actually take to just skim C, skim D, skim E, and then now you're 100%? And you move on.
Totally. And you're not even skimming the entirety of each of those answer choices. You're often reading the first one or two words.
Yep.
And sometimes just saying, nope, wrong direction. Or on a sufficient assumption question, if it says, I don't want people to take this too far, but depending on what you understand about the passage and what your prediction is, when an answer choice starts with sometimes immediately you can be like, all right, this is not going to do it. It's not going to go far enough for what I need and what I know I need. And so then you stop reading that answer. So skimming is really fast. Yep.
And you don't need to eliminate wrong answers with 100% certainty, right? What you need to do is, I know before I even read it that it's wrong 80% of the time. And then I read it. And if it starts sounding wrong at all, then I up my estimate of its wrongness to like 99%. And that's enough for me to stop reading it if I've got another answer that I like. Yeah. Or even if I don't have another answer that I like, because I will sometimes eliminate all 5 on a first read through, right? That happens kind of a lot. And if you're not doing that sometimes, then I guarantee you're giving too much respect to the wrong answer choices. On a first read through, regardless of question type, regardless of whether I find a prediction or don't, on my first read through, I just don't have very much patience for the answer choices because I know that 4 of them by definition are just bullshit.
Yeah.
So I'm basically just reading just nah. Oh, maybe I'd have to think about it. Nah. Oh, okay, fine. There's only one answer that could even possibly be correct here. That's the answer. Move on. You really need to learn to do the LSAT that way because it's the only way that you can go fast with high accuracy. But I just can't tell you how many times I've thought the answer was A or B. And then through skimming C, D, E, I'm looking to get rid of them, but sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
And those ones are, that's actually the right answer. And I was going to miss it if I would have tried to take this shortcut that doesn't really exist.
Yeah. So what you're saying is instead of trying to save time by skipping questions after you've found an answer choice that you love, save time by more quickly going through the answer choices generally, just all of them.
Exactly. Yes. That's the answer here is always read all 5, but just you gotta read them faster but from jump.
Yep.
By default.
Yep.
I would say, Sydney, by the way, 154 diagnostic is amazing. There's no reason you're not going to solidly end up in the 170s. I don't think 173 is a high enough goal for you. Right? I mean, why not 176? Why not a 20-point plus improvement? Because 154 indicates that you are capable of actually understanding what's there. And you've already made a ton of good progress and you're asking a really good question here. There's no reason why you should settle for a 173.
Totally. Well, and also once you get there and you start doing practice tests and you get 170 scores, you're not getting that many questions wrong. So it's easier for you to review and to learn from your mistakes. There's just no reason not to keep going.
Yeah, your mistakes get more and more valuable the higher you score. That makes sense. Last thing, just because I said this in passing earlier, there's no such thing as a principal question because sometimes they say which one of the following is a principle on which the argument above relies. Other times they'll say which one of the following, if true, or something along the lines where they'll say
if valid or something like that. Which one of the following?
Yeah, which one of the following principles, if valid, would most strongly support the information above? And so the former is a must be true or a supported question, and the latter is a strengthened question. And there's a big difference between a must be true or a supported question and a strengthened question. So one of the reasons why you're not yet cracking 170, Sydney, could be that you have this bogus question type in your head of principal questions. And sometimes you'll get them right and sometimes you'll get them wrong because you don't really understand that they are asking you 2 different questions. The word principle on the LSAT does nothing.
Thing. It just means thing.
It means thing. Almost always you can just cross it out.
Yep.
Almost always you don't even need another filler word in there.
Yeah.
It's just, it doesn't do anything. The word principle is just nothing at all.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, you can still figure out the question type from the other words, the other words around the word principle. But the word principle is not helping you figure out at all what the question type is. Next one up is from Joe. Joe is asking about proving my abilities with a master's degree. This sounds like a terrible idea. Let's hear it.
Okay. Hi. After looking at my LSAT GPA, I realized that I'm below the median for most law schools. My LSAT GPA is 3.05. I had some extenuating circumstances during my freshman COVID year, but I recovered with GPA increases in my sophomore, junior, and senior years, ending with a 4.0. I understand that this GPA is a lock, and the schools don't care about those circumstances, so I need to focus on the highest LSAT score. With that in mind, if I potentially R&R, should I maybe take a 1-year online master's program to prove my ability to get good grades to law school admissions? Wait,
No.
Hold on. You've already done that by getting a 4.0 in your last 3 years.
Right. And that well, I don't think it was 4.0 for the last 3 years. That's how I wanted to read it.
Yeah.
But the only way that would make sense is if he had a 0.0 in the freshman year, which is not true. So
fair point.
I think what it was like 2 point something, then high 2 point something, then 3 point something, then 4.0 senior year. But your point remains, Ben, which is that 4.0 senior year demonstrates that you sorted your shit out. No
Yeah.
1 year master's program, like graduate grades are wildly inflated. Like all that, maybe makes you look rich or something.
Like you can
That
afford.
you were able to
Yeah.
buy yourself or maybe makes you look like a sucker, you know, that you were able to enroll in some bogus master's program and get a bunch of A's. It just doesn't do anything for them. It's bad idea.
Okay, so Joe continues, I've only been out of school for 2 years, so I'm taking in the deemed advice of no timelines, and I currently work in banking. So educational endeavors such as a master's / licenses / certifications can help in my current career. My biggest concern is the cost and undertaking of a master's program if the only GPA admissions will care about for their medians is undergraduate GPA. Yep, it's definitely not worth the cost. Or the time.
They care about your GPA for two reasons. One is how it affects their medians, and this master's program doesn't affect their medians at all. Two, they care about your GPA because of how it indicates your ability to succeed in school.
Sure.
But you already did it with a 4.0 in your senior year. I would write a short addendum just pointing out the 4.0 in your senior year.
One sentence.
Yeah.
Maybe two.
Yeah, and that's it though. But definitely don't waste a year and however many thousands of dollars on this master's degree. That would be an incredibly bad idea.
Yep. Also, don't mention extenuating circumstances or COVID. Don't try to make excuses. Yeah. Just point to the fact that you had a 4.0 your senior year or whatever. Yep.
Yeah. One last thing. I believe we talked about this last episode episode 518. I think we spent some time talking about GPA rehabilitation. If not, check out our Demon Daily episodes on GPA rehab. Have you tried? Because maybe it's possible that you can get your undergrad institution to change some of those some of those C's. Maybe they can be changed to pass, or maybe some classes that you had to retake because you had such a hard freshman year, maybe you could get them to wipe those. Like right now you've got, it was an F in your freshman year and then you retook it and got a C, you retook it and you got an A in your junior year. Well, LSAT is going to count both the F and the A. But if you can get your undergrad school to take that F off your transcript, explain to them that, hey, this is for the purposes of law school admission. It is possible that you might be able to get some of those bad grades taken off. So that would actually move the needle, because then you're no longer a 3.05. Maybe you can get that GPA bumped up a bit. Maybe you're not hurting their medians. Well, it's still probably below the median,
it might be, but at least it won't be as much of a punch to the gut for them to see a 3.05. Like, oof, you're going to make it here? Yeah.
Yeah, like if you could get that up to a 3.35 somehow, that's much better than whatever master's 4.0.
Yep. Totally.
Okay.
All right. This next one is coming to us from Chris. That's his actual name. The subject is mean LSAT tweets. Where did this come from?
Well, that wasn't the subject of the email. I asked Josh to put this on our agenda because I got this email.
You got this email.
And
okay.
I got this email. It came directly to me at my LSAT Demon address.
Okay.
And it was from Chris. And here's what it says. Your website fucking sucks for LSAT prep. I've been a straight A student my entire life, and your program literally serves no purpose for help. How the fuck is it possible that I got straight A's my entire life, finished top of my class in undergrad, and got a fucking 144 on my first LSAT practice test? You should shut down your bullshit fucking website because it fucking sucks.
Wow. Okay. There's some things that must not be said here, right? So apparently this student must have studied with us for some time, presumably, and then took a practice
trying to make it make sense. You're trying to make it make sense. And I did go through the same kind of process, but I think if you take Chris at his word
Yeah.
here,
Mm-hmm.
I think you could just maybe fairly interpret this as Chris is mad about a 144 diagnostic and thinks we are the creators of the test. Like, he's mad about the LSAT, I think. I don't think he's mad about LSAT prep. I don't know.
144 is a very common first practice test.
That's my response. Yeah, I'm like, that's what if I saw that, I was like, oh, that's unfortunate, because 144 is actually a pretty good diagnostic.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you would just then go learn from your mistakes. But I mean, I'm here to tell you that when you're scoring 144, that is a great place to start. Don't get me wrong. But it's extremely clear when you go through and review your mistakes, you're missing a lot of the easy questions. I mean, just where it's going to be so straightforward that the right answer is right, the wrong answers are wrong. And we've got a lot of help built into the daemon if you would use it. So there's going to be video of me. There's going to be a video of Ben. We're both going to reason to the correct answer, and we're both going to explain to you why the wrong answer is wrong. There's also a written explanation. There's also the ask button there on every question if you're still confused. So this, I just thought it would be funny to read this email on the show. If you actually used our website to get help, I am convinced it would help you.
I agree. I think that a lot of people who have straight A's are probably folks who are very good at consuming a lot of information and pulling out the key takeaways, right? And so what does that involve? A lot of skimming and scanning large text and saying, oh, okay, I get what the teacher's trying to get me to understand here. Consolidating that information and then being tested on it. If they're approaching the LSAT remotely like that at all,
yeah,
they're going to take very easy questions and turn them into very hard questions, because it's not about skimming. It's not about moving through information quickly. It's about understanding precisely what a little bit of information says and getting every ounce of detail out of that and then attacking the question.
I'm guessing that Chris probably did every question.
Yes.
Right? Like, Chris probably finished the sections and got a 144.
Yep.
But if he would have done just half the sections, half of each section, he probably could have got a 150.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I believe you. You got straight A's your entire life. You finished top of your class in undergrad, and then you just didn't employ the right strategy on your first practice LSAT. So you did what everybody else does in that case, which is you just crash and burn. You're skimming the surface. You're not actually taking the time to solve the questions. You're falling into every trap wrong answer because you're not actually understanding. You're not really reading what's there. And you're just like, he probably confused sufficient for necessary a dozen times.
Yeah, and possibly even looking for the, quote, correct answer based on knowledge of the world.
Oh, that too. Sure, yeah. Like, oh, I'm a straight A student. I have a 4.0 undergrad. I know a lot of things.
Yeah.
They're asking me for my opinion, or they're asking me for my judgment based on knowledge. No. They're asking you to read it and understand what's actually there, because they're asking you a different question every time. And you got to make sure that you're actually answering the question that's being asked.
Cool.
Anyway, that was our mean LSAT tweets.
That's funny.
Next one up is from Raquel. Subject says, this might be the worst GPA you've ever seen, but I still want in.
Okay. Hi, Ben and Nathan. I'm a longtime listener and really appreciate the honest advice you share. I'd love your take on my situation. My LSAT GPA is 1.73.
Wow.
Okay, that is the worst GPA.
That is indeed the worst GPA I've ever seen. Yeah.
Okay. I've written a strong addendum explaining the personal and family challenges that impacted my undergrad years.
That's not going to help you.
No, and your definition of strong could actually backfire. Since then, I've worked for years as a paralegal, earned a paralegal certificate, and interned with pre-law organizations. I also
Okay. I don't know about interned with pre-law organizations, but the fact that you've worked for years as a paralegal, that's awesome.
Yep.
Write your personal statement about that, but you're not going to explain away your 1.73.
Yeah, that's tough. I also have 4 strong letters of recommendation from professors and a campaign manager I worked for. I'm preparing for the September LSAT and aiming for a strong score. I know my GPA is a major hurdle, but is applying even worth it? I thought about doing a master's program as a backup, but also maybe to improve my chances. I'm not expecting scholarships, just hoping for a shot into law school. Any honest feedback would mean a lot.
Don't take the September LSAT unless you are happy with the results of your timed practice test scores. I cannot emphasize that strongly enough. The only way they're going to believe in you as a legitimate law school candidate is you have to show them a strong LSAT. Your 173 is below the median at even the worst law schools. But it's not going to be that hard to get an LSAT above the median at those same law schools. Once you're a splitter, you're a splitter. I'm not sure it really matters how far below the median you are. What is there? Do you think there's really a big difference between a 2.4 and a 1.73?
No, I don't think there's a huge difference there, but there still is. It's going to give people pause. Like you failed in an academic setting. Are we just inviting you to come here and repeat that exercise?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but I think they have that feeling with GPAs that are not nearly as bad as that. So it's just like, okay, that ship has sailed, sailed.
Well, this is where I do wonder if so we just rejected the idea of someone doing a master's program to get a higher GPA. I wonder if this is so bad that you just need a year on record of look, I got a 4.0 in this program. Obviously, things have changed since I became a paralegal.
I don't know.
So expensive.
I might,
right?
I might point to your paralegal certificate. Just why not just re-emphasize the fact that you have been working for years successfully as a paralegal, and also do really well on the LSAT.
That's a must. I just wonder.
That's a must.
Yeah.
Right. That's a no-brainer. I just can't imagine saying, "Oh yeah, go spend $40,000 on a master's."
Can you get a master's for cheap? Plan. Can you get one for $5,000?
Yeah, maybe. I would just work on the LSAT. Honestly, the LSAT is the critical path here, right? You can't do this successfully without the right LSAT.
Yeah.
So if you're serious about this, prep for the LSAT, but don't do what I fear you've already done, Raquel, which is signed up for the September LSAT and you're just planning on taking the September LSAT no matter what. That's the mistake that so many people make. And instead, you should be doing practice tests. Not all the time practice tests, but every once in a while, you should do a practice test to see where you're at. And if you start seeing practice test scores, 160 or higher, then I would no longer have any doubt whether you have the horsepower to make it happen in law school.
Yeah.
So then if I'm, some regional law school, because, you're definitely not getting into any of the top 14. That's not happening.
No.
Probably not even top 50, honestly.
Yeah.
But there are 200 ABA law schools, and you can absolutely go to a law school in your area where a 160 would be like, oh, they're like, oh, wow, okay, our median LSAT's 154. So look at Raquel. Yeah, she had a hard time in undergrad, but 160 something indicates that she has some kind of talent that a lot of our class doesn't have. And Now look at her resume, look at these strong letters of recommendation. All that stuff starts to make you look like you're maybe an attractive candidate at that school. I can't imagine I would tell her to do the master's thing. I think I would just tell her, work on the LSAT, then figure out whether you're going to be a credible applicant or not. And then, once you have your 160 something on record, apply broadly and just see what kinds of offers you get.
Yeah.
That's the only way you're ever going to really know is to see who bites.
Also, ideally, apply part-time, keep your job as a paralegal. And then
The other
come
thing to
back
think
to
about
the
is,
firm. Yeah.
yeah, the other thing to think about is state accredited schools, right? Because like in California, you can go to schools like San Francisco Law School, not UC Law SF and not University of San Francisco, but San Francisco Law School, which is not an ABA accredited school. It's a California bar accredited school. Tuition way lower. Still qualifies you, though, to take the California bar. And especially if your intention is to go back to work at maybe the firm that you already work at, maybe they would be like, oh, yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't you go part-time, night school, state bar accredited school? Because I do think that the ship has sailed on prestige law school into a prestige law firm or something.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not happening.
Yeah.
Hope that helps, Raquel. Write us back if you want to ask us follow-ups or anything.
Yeah, please. All right. The next item is 2-word accommodation letter. This item comes from Demon team member Brandon. A few weeks ago, someone posted on Reddit that they met with their doctor for accommodation requests.
Okay, so I'm applying to get accommodations for the LSAT, and when my doctor filled out the qualified professional form, they didn't answer all of the questions and only put 2 words, quote, severe anxiety. Will my request be rejected because of this? Should I include any other materials or documentation to make up for this less than stellar letter? And then less than 48 hours, we get another post. Just got the decision back and I got approved for 50% extra time on both the multiple choice and writing sections, exclamation point.
Okay. Unsurprising result, right?
No, but an extreme example of
Yeah.
how broken the accommodation system just obviously is.
Yep.
We're not the only ones talking about this. I read a quote from a headline from a Wall Street Journal article today where kids have this impression that if you don't have extra time on your exams, your parents don't love you.
Wow.
Because they didn't take their time to go take you to the doctor to go get you this diagnosis that then is going to get you extra time.
Yeah,
know?
the special care that you need.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't even need your parents to do it for you, right? Like we are now so far beyond where literally all you have to do is have a doctor write severe anxiety and you're going to get auto accepted.
Yeah. I've told you the story about the pregnant student I had years ago, right?
Let's hear it again.
There was just a student who was pregnant and she had used the restroom multiple times an hour. And she came to me and was very concerned about how this would affect her test taking experience.
Okay.
And she had some special medical condition along with her pregnancy. And I just remember her being like, hey, do you think I can get any sort of an accommodation? And I remember saying, you can try, and you probably should try, but I'm pretty confident you probably won't.
Did she try?
She did try, and as far as I know, she never got it. So
Yeah, wow. Times have changed.
like back then, the presumption was no. You had to have a history of accommodations
Yeah.
since you were walking.
Yeah. They lost that lawsuit, man, and had to settle out of that lawsuit. You know, when they got forced to stop putting the asterisk on people's record when they got extra time. And they also had to sign an agreement about being much more accommodating, basically.
Yep.
and they responded. They have complied to the. They have very much complied with that court order.
Yeah.
And so now it's just, yeah, like all bets are off. You want extra time? Go get yourself extra time. I mean, I guess that, this,
We're not saying
this
that
is a letter
that's
from a,
the right policy or even the
No.
right moral choice. It's just,
yeah.
if you want to, you probably can. That's the situation.
I think it's very much not the right moral choice.
Yeah.
I also would strongly encourage you to consider the fact that there are lots of people like me, like Ben, like many of the other people that you're going to find in law school who are scoring 170 something with regular time. And, sure, you could get yourself this extra time, and you're going to also get that extra time in law school probably, because law schools do the same thing. But it's going to be much more difficult to get that extra time on the state bar exam. And I don't know. I question whether this is really a field you want to get yourself into if you think that this is the best way to go about it. I don't know. No, I understand. I mean, we're going to get so much hate mail, so maybe we could try to preempt that a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there is no such thing as valid, deserved accommodations. But when certain things do seem particularly egregious,
Yep.
and anxiety would be one of those.
Yeah.
Like, who's not anxious about the LSAT?
Yeah.
Everybody's anxious about the LSAT. It's a high stakes test. Of course you're anxious about it.
In short, there seems to be two problems. One, too many people are getting accommodations, and the accommodations that people are getting are too strong, right?
Right, because the default 50% extra time
Yep.
is just an absurd amount of extra time. It doesn't level the playing field. It makes it so that those people can actually finish the sections, when we never stop talking about how you don't need to finish the sections to score 160 or even 170 or 175. You don't actually need to finish. You just need to take your time and solve questions accurately. But if you get time and a half, it's just this absurd abundance of time.
Well, I'm sure a ton of people in that situation assume that they should be able to finish, that's normal. And then so when
Even
they
LSAC
don't,
thinks that.
Yeah.
When you read their documentation, when you read their reports, which we don't have, I don't think, recent reports about how many people are getting accommodated these days. But when they talked about it in 2017 or whatever that was, they said, oh, this accommodation does allow most people to have time to finish the section. And it's like,
Are you aware of the fact? Yeah.
Most people score higher if they don't finish the section, because there's like too much there for most people to be able to make it through in 35 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. One solution, Ben, they could just leave the test exactly as it is and give everybody 53 minutes a section. Right? Like, essentially make it an untimed test where it's no longer time is not, it's just not an issue.
Yeah. And then double time could be an accommodation, but it actually wouldn't have as much of an impact because the marginal benefit.
Because most, I don't know, I don't want to say normal because people will be mad at me if I say normal, but like most
non-accommodated,
most non-accommodated students, if you gave them 53 minutes, then they would have enough time to answer every question, like to actually read and solve every question. Then if you had some learning difference, processing difference, dyslexia, whatever it is, you need a Braille test, whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you should just have unlimited time. I want you to be able to answer I want you to be able to take your time, think about it, and answer the questions.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. 48 hours later, less than 48 hours later, according to this person on Reddit.
That just,
Severe anxiety. Boom. Blake writes in, subject is when to take a break.
I've been studying for 5 months and plan to take the August LSAT in under 2 weeks. I don't believe in burnout, but if I did, I'd say I'm close. My diagnostic was around 155, and I've been practice testing every 5 to 6 days for 2 months. All but one practice test has landed between 159 and 162.
I got to stop you right there. That you're doing way too many tests. You're not learning from your mistakes. Your diagnostic is 155 and you're doing more than one full test a week and you're not making progress basically. All but one PT is between 159 and 162 off of a 155 diagnostic.
Yeah, you should be in the 170s by the time you take the test.
Oh my God, if you're doing this much work, like there's like so much smoke here and no fire at all.
Yeah.
Right? You're just not, and I get it, like, yeah, you are burned out, Blake. You're not, because you haven't been doing it right.
You're focused on quantity, not quality.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. A lot of people do this, Blake, but and we could fix it. We could fix it easily.
Yeah.
You just need to slow way down, stop doing full tests all the time, do a mix of drilling and maybe some timed sections now and again. But you got to learn from your mistakes. And all you're doing right now is just making the same mistakes over and over.
Well, look at this. This confirms exactly what you're saying. I drill about 3 hours a day reviewing mistakes and keeping a wrong answer journal.
No.
So you're not taking enough time to answer the questions correctly before you even get into review.
Right.
You're also not taking enough time to review the mistakes that you genuinely make because you're spending some of that time putting pen to paper. You're writing. Like, let's focus on learning.
I'm just so confident that if you looked at Blake's wrong answer journal, it's going to be full of like a lot of really unhelpful shit, right? Blake's wrong answer journal is going to be like, oh, I misread that one. Oh, I misread that one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I misread that one.
Yeah. Or watch out for all. That's like in the vacuum.
Right. Something that is totally removed of context, makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
Or he also might be writing in there, oh, I missed a must be true.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I missed a sufficient assumption question. Oh, I missed a necessary assumption question. Yeah, I know. You're missing all the different types of questions because you're just doing too much volume. You're not reading carefully enough. You're making tons of silly mistakes. And your wrong answer journal that's totally worthless compared to just actually review one question to where you really understand why you made that mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Half the time it's misreading. Half the time it's you're not actually understanding the logic.
Blake continues, my goal is a 165. I believe I'm capable, especially since my timed drill accuracy is around 90%. Okay. Don't worry about your drill accuracy. As you do better, the demon's going to give you harder questions, so it's not even necessarily something you can control that much.
What even is timed drill accuracy?
I don't know, actually. I don't know, since drill has no time limit. But anyways, your goal is a 165. Yes, we believe that you're capable of that. We actually believe you're capable of much more.
Oh, much more than that. 155 diagnostic's awesome.
Yeah.
If you only made 10 points off of a 155 diagnostic, I'd be like, I don't know. I'm pretty confident you could do better. 155 diagnostic means you should be in the 170s.
Yep.
Just period. So he's gotten discouraged, right? Because he's been doing so much effort, so much volume.
Yeah.
But just misdirected. And so, yeah, you are burned out. Man, 5 months, Ben. 5 months of studying.
Wow. No, wait, 2 months.
First 3 words first.
Oh, I'm looking at the
email.
practice. Yeah, I've been studying for 5 months. Yep.
He's been doing way too many PTs for the last 2 months, but he's been studying overall for 5 months.
Yeah.
You gotta slow down. You should have made way much more progress by now.
Yep.
But you're probably doing, I bet Blake's doing like 5 times as many questions as he should be doing.
Yep.
Maybe 10 times as many questions because he's drilling for 3 hours a day plus doing more than one full test a week.
Yep.
Oh, you got a feel for this guy.
Yeah. Blake continues, my question is how and when should I take a break with less than 2 weeks left? That's not your question. Your question is just how should I study? How should I use the time that I take to study, and how much time should I study? You should study a lot less, and the time that you do use, that 1 to 2 hours a day should be
Yeah.
careful drilling, careful time sections.
Yep.
I'll also take
Want to read the rest of this?
Yeah, I'll also take the September LSAT, and I feel I've learned most of what I will before August. No, you have a lot to learn still.
Yeah.
Should I practice test once or twice more, or focus only on drilling and take a few days off?
You're probably hearing this. Well, you're definitely hearing this too late for the August exam, because the August exam is already happening by the time you hear this.
Bummer.
You have no business taking the August exam. You should withdraw from the August exam. I doubt that you're going to be ready for the September LSAT either. You need to slow way down. You need to learn more from your mistakes. You need to just pump the brakes here big time. And I would not register for an official LSAT until I started practice testing in the 170s if I were you, Blake. That means you probably need to push it to the next cycle. I know you hate hearing that because you have been at it for a while, but you've been at it for a while doing all the wrong stuff.
Yep.
You know, like maybe Blake's going to be ready for the October LSAT.
Blake, we don't know what your GPA is, but you have the potential to join the Masters of the Universe
Yeah.
in the legal profession.
Yeah. Registration deadline for the October LSAT is August 21st, Blake. If you haven't started scoring 170 or higher, I would not register for the October LSAT. So I don't think you should have taken the August LSAT. You probably already did. If you're registered for September, I feel like you should probably withdraw. Now, that test is September 3 through 6. Again, I guess since you're already registered and you're not going to get any refund or anything, you could take that test if your practice tests are 170 or higher by the time that test rolls around at the beginning of September. But I wouldn't register for October unless I had 170 plus practice tests. And you know, I think you're maybe a better candidate for the November test. Deadline to register for that is September 25th. That gives you like a month between now and then. But I would think that if you actually learned from your mistakes, you would be making a lot faster progress. And I just don't think you're actually learning from your mistakes.
Yep.
Notice, one thing Blake says here, I think is a little bit telling. I feel I've learned most of what I will before August. It's as if Blake thinks that it's a test of knowledge.
Exactly.
You just haven't learned how to do the game
Oh,
yet,
I know all the
You're
different
not-
question types. I know there's necessary assumption questions. I know there's sufficient assumption questions. So I think there's not a whole lot more to learn about the test.
Yeah, no. People who read more carefully can score 165, which is Blake's goal, without knowing any of that stuff that Blake thinks he knows.
No, you need to learn how to read sentences.
Yeah, and arguments. And the question that they're asking you about those arguments, and the answer choices to the extent that one of them actually answers the question that's being asked based on the record that you were given. He just hasn't learned to play the game.
Yep.
Thanks, Blake. Hope that's helpful. This next one, Ben, I recently joined the American Bar Association. I don't know why I did that. But I started getting emails from the American Bar Association.
Okay.
I think that's why I did it.
Wait, I
'Cause
didn't
wanted,
even know that you could join.
Oh, yeah. Anybody could join.
What are you joining?
I don't fucking know. I gave him my credit card,
Nice.
Well, anyway, they have this, I guess we would call it bi-monthly
Sure.
journal.
Wait. Oh, it's every other month or twice a month?
Isn't bi-monthly, it could mean either, right?
It could mean either. Yeah.
That's the most fucked up thing about the English language. If I could change one thing about the English language,
Same with
that's
bi-weekly.
just not good.
Yeah, bi-weekly.
Exactly. Yeah, bi-weekly and bi-monthly. Fuck that. We need to come up with a better system. That makes no sense that bi-monthly could mean twice a month or could mean every other month.
Yep.
That's come on now. Anyway, this bi-monthly journal,
Yep.
which provides you with not that helpful information because it could come out twice a month or every other month. Anyway, this is the August-September 2025 issue of the ABA Journal.
Okay.
And I haven't really read it yet, but I was very amused.
Yeah, you're planning to read it?
I'm gonna, read it the same way I read the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal and the
Okay.
Washington Post. Like, I
Skim
just
it.
kind of skim it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to try to stay abreast.
Okay.
But anyway, this shit I found to be amazingly funny / tragic, right?
Mm.
First, the cover / the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the subject of the journal, or the subject of the email. Ready?
Yep.
Addressing lawyers' loneliness. Are lawyers more prone to gambling addiction? What California bar woes mean for future remote exams.
Okay. Sad.
This is your American Bar Association out here spreading the good news about how miserable lawyers are. Apparently, they have a loneliness problem in addition to their potential gambling addictions.
Yep.
Also, the California bar has completely fucked up with their remote administration of their bar exam, which we talked about that on previous episodes of the show. I found all that to be quite amusing. Then you click on it, Ben, when you click on, which you didn't even get to see because I don't think you can access it, but when you click on it in the email, you like have to log in, right? And then it opens this like digital version of the magazine.
Yeah.
Which is way worse than just like having just a PDF or something.
Yeah.
It goes page by page, and when you press next, it makes a sound effect of a page turning.
And then does the page kind of like graphically flip? Oh my gosh.
It graphically flips over as if it's 1997 and someone learned how to do this fancy web design.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid. It's like impossible to read. I mean, thankfully, you can download a enormous PDF, and then it's slightly easier to read the PDF. Anyway,
But PDFs are not, they don't scale to screen size, right? So like just a regular old web page would be better.
an actual web page of this would be chef's kiss. And by the way, they could hide that behind their login anyway.
Yep.
So I'm sure it would be easier and way better if they would just do it that way. They don't. The cover is kind of amusing, I thought. This graphic of all about the action. It's got the ace of spades, which is on fire.
Yeah.
And it says all about the action. Are lawyers more at risk for gambling addiction? I haven't read it yet. I assume the answer is yes, because we know that lawyers are more at risk for
All
drug
sorts
and
of
alcohol
things.
dependency,
Yeah.
depression, all sorts of things. So yeah, probably gambling too. I wouldn't doubt that at all. Then, and we can move on, but the very first page inside is an advertisement.
Yep.
And the advertisement says the ABA is fighting #ForAll. And they've got a donate now button there. So the very first thing you see when you open up this ABA member benefit magazine
Yep.
is a plea for donations. Would you like to describe this picture and especially maybe read the pull quote up there in the top right? Because I find that to be extra specially amusing.
Yeah, we have a diverse set of individuals here. They look like professionals. We have one woman looking straight at us.
Yep.
Who, I don't know who these people represent, but the idea behind getting this donation is they say our judicial system, profession, and the principles we have cherished for 250 years are at risk. So they don't mention Trump, but presumably that's the audience that they're referring to.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The ABA is fighting for the, quote, and they capitalize, rule of law. We're fighting for the justice system. We're fighting for the legal profession. Donate today and join the fight. And then, of course, you get a testimonial from Natalie.
I didn't realize how much of the testimonial is exactly that same copy, by the way.
Oh,
But read the testimonial.
Yeah. So this is from Natalie, a dental hygienist.
I'm, I'm sorry. That's the part that made me just laugh the most, is that this is a magazine for lawyers, but then they've got a testimonial from Natalie, a dental hygienist,
Yep.
who says this.
Okay. She says, signing up for a monthly donation to the ABA helps me feel less powerless in our current political climate. I know they are fighting the big, important fights for all of us, and I love supporting that.
What?
It almost has like Trumpian language in there. The big, important fights.
So the American Bar Association, which is a guild for lawyers,
Yep.
like their primary job is to keep people out of the legal profession.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it weren't for the Bar Association, we wouldn't have these rules about, oh, you have to go to law school for 3 years at an accredited law school.
That has in-person professors and you have a certain number of professors. So good luck making an online program that would be way cheaper. Yep.
Yeah. And they accredit these law schools, but then that's still not enough because then you also have to have bar exams. Each state bar has their own protectionism.
Yeah.
It's just clearly like protecting. All it is sure, I would believe that the ABA is there to support people who are already lawyers.
Yeah.
But like, oh yeah, they're really protecting humanity by making it harder to get into the legal profession so that lawyers can charge more money for their clients. Mm-hmm. And they expect that people like Natalie, a dental hygienist, are going to be not just donating, but donating monthly.
And feeling
to the
good
American
about
Bar
it.
Association.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, feeling less powerless in the current climate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can move on. I don't know.
I'd love to know, what exactly are you doing to fight for
help
justice?
dental hygienists? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. This next item. Oh, hey, what's the deal with Purdue Global Law School?
Purdue what now?
Purdue Global Law School. Is that
really
the name?
Okay. What is the deal with Purdue Global Law School? This is coming from Purdue Peter, who writes in, "Hello, Ben and Nathan. In mid-July, you don't put a hyphen between mid-July in this context." Yeah. Peter. Okay. In mid-July 2025, I attended an online information session with the Dean of Purdue Global Law School and an admissions officer. PGL, that stands for Purdue Global Law, offers a JD in both a part-time and full-time format. Here's what I found out. The headings are my own. And then in bold, my overarching question for you guys is whether or not you think this school is a decent option to throw into the mix when applying broadly to schools and looking at all options, especially with an eye to affordability. Thanks for all you do. So this information here was compiled by Peter. Producer Josh, thank you, Josh, went through and verified it. So here's the structure.
Okay.
Part-time program takes 4 years, while the full-time program takes just under 3. That's the same as every other full-time program. I think that's the same as every other part-time program.
Yep.
Both programs are both programs are 92 credits. And we were told that all of the topics on the California bar are offered as classes.
Wow.
Classes are offered asynchronously, but there are also synchronous offerings 2 to 3 times per week in the evening. The entire program is completely online. Oh, so we're not actually talking about Purdue Law. This is a new thing. This is Purdue Global Law School.
It's global. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
but what do you do with your degree if you get it in Asia?
I mean, tons of Asians send their kids to the United States to get a U.S. degree.
Yeah.
because it's like impressive. You know, they think, oh, it's going to help you be able to like do business with Americans because you have, I mean, which is probably true, right? It's like a pretty good test of like English fluency.
Sure. Okay.
I find it really interesting. I mean, maybe Peter is in California, which is why he specifically says that they tell him that all the topics on the California bar are offered as classes. This is crafty here of Purdue. Purdue's like, hey, we want some of that sweet California money. Like, we're going to go after students everywhere. My guess is, though, that Peter is from California and they just tell everybody exactly what they told Peter, right? Ben, you're in Virginia. Oh, yeah, Ben, we cover every class that's on there's a class that's every topic that's on the Virginia bar.
Yep. Have you heard of evidence?
I mean, that's not that
we
hard
have
to
a
do.
class on that. Yeah.
That's just not that hard to do. Okay, entire program is online. Great. Accreditation. The school has gone from a California registered to a California accredited school. So the first year law school examination is no longer required. The baby bar. I don't know why people worry about the goddamn baby bar so much. People think that that's a barrier. The baby bar is there to help you, man.
Yeah.
The baby bar is there to keep you from getting ripped off.
If you don't pass it, then you should get out of there.
Exactly. Yeah. Sorry, Kim Kardashian, but you got into some shitty law school and then you couldn't pass the baby bar. Well, yeah, because the baby bar is required at that shitty law school to keep that shitty law school from ripping off people who are never going to be able to pass the California bar.
Yep.
So the fact that Purdue Global Law has been able to earn a higher accreditation so that they no longer have to have the baby bar anymore. I mean, that's just that just does not help you, Peter. But I can see how the schools would like really love to sell that.
Yeah, don't worry about it. You're good.
You don't even have to take the baby bar. No, we've got full California accreditation. Is this even, do you think this school is actually affiliated with Purdue? Because now I'm thinking this is actually a California thing. Oh, no, it is. Okay, here we go. I'll keep going.
Yep.
Purdue University bought Concord Law School some years ago and rebranded it as Purdue Global, but it is otherwise a California law school with a registered address in Los Angeles. So this is definitely a California thing.
And by the way, law school is a business enterprise, which is why they go around and buy other law schools.
Yeah. And Concord Law School was some shitty California registered or accredited law school that was probably going out of business. And Purdue University has resources. And they said, hey, let's get into this California law school game.
Yep.
It's so lucrative. Let's do this. Students are eligible to sit for the bar in California, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Connecticut, and Indiana only. So not Virginia, as I was saying earlier. This program...
So how's it global?
While global, by global, what they mean is California, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Connecticut, and Indiana.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states. They really emphasized this point as a limitation of the school and something for prospective students to keep in mind. Well, I would fucking hope that. I would hope so.
Yeah, that's because they're saying two things at once. They just said that they're global, and then they're like, well, don't get the wrong impression. You have to take the bar in one of these 5 states.
Yeah, and do not sue us. Like, as out of an abundance of caution, we're going to make you acknowledge. They'll probably make you sign 20 different documents that say, I understand that this school makes me eligible to sit the bar
that it's
only
not
in
global.
these states. I understand that global does not mean global. It means these 5 states.
Yeah.
According to the presentation Peter received, quote, there are typically about 500 students enrolled in the school at any given time. The attrition rate after the 1L year is 20% dropout and 20% failure to maintain minimum grade standards. But they didn't say what the minimum GPA is for maintenance.
40% of the school is saying bye. Okay.
I mean, I'm actually glad that they're failing out 20% of the class. because that means that they are trying to, they're doing you a favor by failing you out, right? And they're also doing themselves a favor, I suppose. They're like, look, we know that you're not going to pass the bar eventually, so we're just going to fail you out now. That's totally fine. I mean, I'm glad about that part.
I'm
additional
glad,
20%,
although I wonder how much of the strategy is like, okay, we're going to get a certain amount of income from people we know who aren't going to succeed.
Oh,
as opposed
yeah. It's
to,
not like they're refunding your tuition after that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like it a lot better if you also got your first year tuition refunded. Then I would feel really good about it. This additional 20% dropout rate, these are people who aren't doing well. They're realizing, oh, wow, this is not going to help me reach my goals.
Oh, it's not global. Got it.
Oh, I didn't read that fine print. I signed my name 1,000 times. Wait, what? I can't take the bar in New York? What? Okay, so then Josh notes, though, that these numbers don't quite track based on required California accreditation reporting. So there's a table here, enrollment data, and I'm not according to the report, attrition is roughly 75% from the first year to the second year. Wait, what?
Okay.
I mean,
yeah. So I see this first year, right? There's 535 people in 2021, and then
for the class that started in 2021.
Yeah, and then their second year, the number of students drops to 63.
33 in the third year, 25 in the fourth year. I mean, yeah, look at even 2024, right? So let's say they were just building up. But yeah, it seems as if their 2021 attrition was extremely high. Then their 2022 attrition was also high. The attrition between first year and second year on this table is extremely high every single year.
I don't understand.
At least,
yeah, go ahead.
By the time we get to 2024, we do start to see, there's 123 Ls and 139 4Ls in 2024.
What's going on there? How is the number of students increasing the fourth year?
I have no idea what's going on. I don't know. I can't really tell much from this about what's going on at this school. I would tread cautiously here, though.
Yeah,
because
if a lot of people most people are leaving, that's the sign of something not worth the time and effort.
Yeah, and it is wild that every year, I mean, 1Ls are making up more than 50% of the class. So of the total school.
So that's their strategy.
If I'm reading this table,
they're making money off the first year. That's all they really care about.
They're just cashing in off of people doing it for 1 year and then dropping out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Under employment prospects, we have a note here that says the dean plainly said that this was not a school for students who are looking to work in Big Law. He said that the school has sent 4 or 5 graduates to Big Law, but that the chances of that are quite low. He noted that outside of the top 14, those chances are low anyway. I mean, that's a nice little sleight of hand there, huh? Because the truth is that if you go to a school that's ranked 18th or 20th or 25th in the country, Big Law placement is not actually low at USC.
No, they still actually have quite a few people going into Big Law.
100%.
You need to understand that it's not guaranteed by any means.
But you can do it from George Mason. You can do it from the University of Georgia. You can do it from a lot of schools that are not in the top 14.
Yep.
But what this guy's doing is he's like, oh, well, I mean, yeah, you weren't going to play in the NBA anyway. He's making this crazy comparison to the top 14 when it's like, no, how about you compare yourself to American Bar Association accredited schools? How about you compare yourself to, there's 200 ABA schools.
Yeah.
What's the Big Law placement at a school that's ranked 70th? Now, it's not great, but it's also not,
4 or 5 out of
maybe
500.
4 or 5 out of hundreds and hundreds. It's better than that. Josh makes a note here. Employment reporting was quite poor. Their numbers were based on their post-graduation survey that had a total of 20 responses included in the results. In that survey, 8 were in a JD required job, and 12 were in a job that the graduates described as being a JD advantage job.
I've heard enough. Don't apply here.
This looks like a very garbage school. You need a 3.0 undergraduate GPA. The LSAT's not required, but if you did get a 154 or higher, you're going to be considered for a merit scholarship. But a maximum of $10,000, $2,500 a year each year for 4 years. Tuition and fees, $52,900. No, but that I think is for the whole 3-year program.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Still a lot of money because it seems like these people are getting almost nothing out of it.
Yeah.
There are some discounts for military veterans, Purdue University alums, federal and state employees. Oh my God.
So look, if they're charging 17, 18,000 a year and they're giving them at most 2,000 to 3,000 in scholarships per year, you're spending at least 15 grand on tuition. The business model for this school is to get 15K from 500 plus people the first year, and then who gives a shit about the rest?
And then very few people actually make it into legal practice.
Yeah. Shame on Purdue. I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, maybe Purdue is far enough away from California that they don't really care about the Purdue University brand.
Yeah.
Because like Californians aren't leaving California to go to Purdue undergrad.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. But this does seem like a stain on Purdue's reputation.
Yeah.
To the extent that I would have prior thought that Purdue University might have kind of a good reputation. Now that I know about this school, the Purdue Global Law School, it definitely has diminished my assessment of Purdue. By the way, does Purdue have a like an ABA law school?
I don't know.
I'm going to check that out really quick. Anything else you want to say while I look that up? Anything else you want to say about Purdue Global Law School?
Yeah, I mean, Peter and Josh go on to point out that 10% discounts are offered for military veterans, Purdue University alums, federal employees, and California state employees. These are they're just
price discrimination, trying to figure out a way.
Yeah, scam
and
coupons
also, by
to
the
try to
way,
get people sign up. That's all. Yeah.
Students are not permitted to stack scholarships and discounts.
Ooh.
So if you did take the LSAT and get that scholarship, oh, well, sorry, the military discount doesn't stack with that. Purdue University alum doesn't stack with that. Just such a joke.
Oh, look at this. They just the dean noted that they had just 2 students take the bar in Connecticut, 1 passed. He noted that the overall Connecticut bar passage rate was only about 40%. That doesn't sound right.
Sounds pretty low. I mean, that would have been maybe the lowest bar.
I thought
passage
California
rate.
was the lowest bar at like 60 or...
I think it changes from year to year. 7 of their students took it in Indiana and had 100% passage rate.
Such small numbers. It's hard to take any meaning out of that.
Please don't go to this school. I mean, I'm a big advocate, I think, of alternative JD programs. Like, this shit needs to be moved online, right? It's so dumb that we're going to be going to these giant buildings in the middle of downtown with these huge costs.
Yep.
Right? Everybody commuting, everybody sitting there in rows with some professor in a fancy suit. There's just so much like irresponsible, I feel like, waste of resources on all that.
Yeah.
But I would encourage you maybe to start with a program from an established law school where they're at least putting the reputation of their law school on the line. Purdue isn't like really putting much on the line at all here. They could just shut this down. Oh yeah, that was a failed experiment.
Yep.
Because they don't have their own law school. Yikes. What's next?
What is next? Oh, we got the personal statement Gong show.
Oh, fun.
Yep. This is where we're going to read someone's personal statement and offer feedback. As soon as we have an issue with the statement and it's too much to keep reading, we're going to ring the gong and stop reading. The challenge for the person today and for anyone who wants to submit their personal statement is to see how long you can get us to read. Today, we're going to read Sophia's statement. The current record is 21 lines held by Danielle. You want to read it?
Since the inception of my clothing brand in 2020, I've designed, handmade, and sold over 10,000 custom garments. I spend my days as an English major engaged in classwork, analyzing arguments, studying literature, and writing essays. At night, I fulfill orders by hand, expand my customer base, source manufacturers, and master the basics of tactical clothing creation. However, there was one thing I wasn't expecting to encounter, : other people, brands, and pages using my designs. That's the first paragraph. We've made it 6 lines. I'm not ringing the gong. Are you ringing the gong?
No, I'm not ringing the gong. There seems to be a little bit of word choices that I wouldn't use. I would bring this down and make it a little more down to earth. Since the inception of my clothing brand.
Yeah, since I started.
Yeah.
Or since I launched.
Yep. Custom garments. I mean, these are fine. It's not like wrong. It just seems a little more poetic than I would write this. But hey, you're a student and you've started a business that's apparently successful, so you know how to work hard and experience some of the challenges that people face when they get into business.
Totally. I like it. I'm a little worried about where the story is headed.
Could be bad. Yep.
Because I don't want to hear about you lawyering without a license. You know, I was much more interested in you building your brand. You tell me about you building your business. That's awesome. The second you start trying to tell me about potential legal entanglements, I'm far less interested because you're not a lawyer. You don't work in the law. I'm just not very interested in this. Anyway, I'll continue.
Yep.
The first time I watched another vendor replicate what I knew to be a unique product of my own hard work, I felt a specific kind of panic. The panic wasn't just the fear of losing customers to a competitor, but realizing that something I worked to build from scratch could be swallowed up overnight. The other business used similar photography, copywriting, and design techniques to emulate the brand identity I have curated for the past 6 years. I didn't know whether to feel flattered or worried about my own brand's future.
Again, a little poetic, but I think that it's a very legitimate concern.
Yep.
I would keep reading.
I'll keep reading. Instead of engaging directly, I took a step back and worked to answer a bigger question, : what would make my brand uniquely positioned to succeed in a saturated market? I studied brands, pages, and cataloged how they make a product feel intimate and targeted, despite their audience being hundreds of thousands of consumers a day. One theme stood out. The most resilient brands were built around a community that felt invested in their success. Still reading?
Yeah, I'm impressed that this person is looking to a strategic solution rather than a purely legal one.
You're happy about that?
I'm happy about that.
Yes, I'm glad this didn't turn into a legal story.
I lawyered up with Steep Toe and
about
Johnson.
you lawyering up, or filing shit on your own. I'm glad you didn't do any of that stuff. I'm glad you're like, oh, I better compete.
Yep.
This next paragraph is weirdly center justified, center aligned, but maybe that's not actually the correspondent's fault. Maybe that's just a error
Glitch.
in the way we're seeing it. So I'll leave that. I'm not going to be mad about that. However, I am scanning down now and I'm seeing that it's over 2 pages, which makes me like almost want to ring the gong because, you know, like you're not following the assignment.
Ooh.
The assignment is 2 pages.
Not just a little over, quite a bit over. Yep.
Okay. So that's not just like a copy paste error or something like that. Like that's the statement is really not within 2 pages.
Yep.
And that's a problem. Anyway, this next paragraph says, my rhetoric professor's advice about knowing my audience and crafting a clear argument suddenly felt just as relevant to entrepreneurship as it did to my courses. My community was my customer base. Jewish mothers from my hometown synagogue, students from nearby university Shabbat programs, and followers who came across my work through mutual friends in sororities and social clubs. My online brand was a feedback loop between me and the people I cared about, built on a shared identity and purpose. These features in common gave my business legitimacy, something that could not be replicated inauthentically. I'm still reading. I actually want to know what's going to happen.
I do too.
And I haven't been offended by bad sentences. I mean, there's stuff that I would clean up. I wouldn't let her use the colon as much as she's using a colon, but I don't know.
I would use slightly less formal language in a lot of places. Just tighten it up.
I would.
But yeah.
Make it a bit more conversational and tighten it up.
Yep.
Yeah. On October 7th, 2023, my Jewish community and thus many of my customers were left devastated by the atrocities committed against their loved ones. I just don't think you need to go there. I don't like.
Yeah.
Really, boy, you're just bringing up like such a devastating and fraught thing. I thought I was going to hear about your business.
Yep.
And instead, you're now telling me about October 7. I don't know. Anyway.
Yep. Well, you bring bring in all the opinions and controversies and baggage.
Right.
And you don't know how your reader is going to process that.
Right. And just why bother? I thought we were learning about you.
Mm-hmm.
And you already said you're Jewish. I could have inferred that October 7th probably mattered a lot to you.
Mm-hmm.
But what's it have to do with your case to come to my law school? Anyway. Like this, yeah, it's just like, oh, wow. So you're going to be vocal about these issues on my campus?
Mm.
It's kind of the last thing I want if I'm running a school. I mean, by the way, I'm not taking any sides on anything. I just don't want this type of shit happening. I don't want people fighting about this shit on my campus.
Yeah.
Anyway. She goes on, I knew that my influence did not have the impact or outreach capacity of large nonprofits, but I knew there was always a way to contribute. My initiatives involved partnering with Jewish social media figures to create a line of custom apparel and Judaica featuring symbolism of hope and strength with profits donated to humanitarian aid organizations. These phrases served as a source of comfort for my customers across the country. More importantly, I was in awe of how my community stepped up to help each other in the greatest time of need, and it only reinforced what I had learned from other founders about the importance of shared purpose. This is what my surface level competitors did not have. Maybe we just stop there because it's too long.
Yep. I'm fine with that. I'm also... It does seem like she's trying to say what she did in response to this theft that was going on of her brand, but it seems highly dependent on this particular event, and also like, okay, wasn't there something else you did to build your community?
Right.
Yeah.
It's not about you anymore. I mean, I guess she is partnering with Jewish social media figures, but why did you have to bring October 7th into it? That part I don't really get.
Yeah. Okay. Lots of good stuff here. I wonder how many lines that is.
Yeah, it's a new record. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 6, 7, 8, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4.
34.
34 lines. That's pretty good. Going forward, we are not accepting personal statements that are longer than 2 pages. 2 pages, double-spaced, 11 or 12-point font, and we will not read your statement on the show if it does not follow that assignment. That said, congratulations. We have a new leader, Sophia.
Okay. Let's go into Word of the Week. This Word of the Week nomination comes from Demon team member Robert. Ameliorate. This is coming from test 21, apparently.
To ameliorate means to resolve, to fix, or to lessen the impact of. Right? You could ameliorate errors on your website.
Yep.
The example is the new tutoring program was designed to ameliorate students' struggles with reading comprehension. And ameliorate clearly means fix.
Yep.
Or resolve or
lessen the impact
be,
or something?
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I am curious exactly what the definition is.
Okay, the definition is to make something bad or unsatisfactory better. To improve.
To fix.
Yep.
Nice.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Be LSAT famous. Please ask questions or share news with us on our website, thinkinglsat.com, or on our socials at LSAT Demon. If you have questions about the demon itself, email help@lsatdemon.com. You can also check out our other podcast, LSAT Demon Daily. That was episode 519 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. Thanks all y'all for listening. Nice knowing you. Don't pay for losses.